So welcome, everyone. My name is Julian. I'm at Matagiri outside of Woodstock, New York, where as part of Auroville International USA, we welcome you to our first collaboration with the live stream from Auroville and our tea shop. So I hope you have a chai or something by your side and don't spill it on your keyboard, please. And we're so delighted to have Suryamayi and Francesco for this AV Live presentation, who are really part of a next generation of ATB practitioners. The practice came from Juan and Loka, two wonderful people who did this work in Auroville. And we hope that you'll be in touch with us for future offerings and go to the aviusa.org website to Auroville Live and see what's going on. I've had the pleasure of being taught by both Suryamayi and Francesco when they came to America with Aloka to share awareness through the body. And I really think it's so relevant, especially in an age when we're caught up in our screens, that we have a moment to be silent and go inside and practice this very basic part of yoga, which is witness consciousness and observing ourselves. And I feel that both Francesco and Suryamayi not only are qualified, but have put together a wonderful course, which is available on auroville.com. And we'll make the link available to you where you can go into further study and have a deeper experience at whatever the right timing is for you. Francesco, I didn't even know this, was a professional snowboarder. So he was in his body and I guess having some extreme sports experience. I admire that so much. People who are at the height of their physical practice. And Suryamayi is a child of Auroville. Her parents are dear friends, and it was wonderful to have her come to America and study in California and do a deep dive into Auroville's philosophy. So I feel not only are they immersed in Auroville, and awareness through the body, but also have a deeper understanding of the philosophy, which supports and is part of our understanding of the context for awareness through the body. The controls, for those of you who don't do a lot on Zoom, we have the mute button. Please keep yourselves muted. You can have your video on. It's nice to see your faces, or you can close your video. There is a chat box where you'll be able to see the links that we put up. One will be an email address where you can order this wonderful new book. So that is available here in the US, along with ATB Classic, the original book. And you can also have a reaction, thumbs up or smiley face and so on, by mousing over the bottom of your screen. So with that introduction, I'd like to turn the session over to Suryamayi and Francesco. Suryamayi in Auroville and Francesco in Italy. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Julian, for that introduction, for that welcome, and thanks to the whole AVI USA team for hosting this session. And thanks to all of you here for joining us on this Saturday. We're really excited to share this moment with you. We're excited to be launching our latest, this one-of-a-kind awareness through the body video course, which has never been done before. So it's an experiment, and Auroville is very much known for that. So some of you here, I know, have done ATB before. Some of you have even done awareness through the body online. This is, of course, the second session that AVI USA is hosting of ATB. So maybe some of you participated in that. And for some of you, this might be the very first time that you're interfacing or going to experience any kind of ATB. And really everyone is welcome here. And the video course that we're launching is really for all of you. It's for people who've never had a chance to attend a live workshop and want to be able to give it a try. It's for those of you who have attended many workshops and want to be able to, tap into that space whenever you need it. So we're just curious to know, get a little bit of sense of who's in the room. So Francesco, maybe you can come online and
yeah. So hello everyone. Greetings from Italy. This almost evening over here. If I look out of my window, there are the snow mountain peaks. And glad to see you and to connect. I mean, I find it so amazing to be able to connect and being basically in a room together in a way at so much physical distance. And one of the things we have tried to do during the course, but also all this time through this connecting virtually, is still to keep it as alive and interactive as possible. So in this case, I would just like to ask you, just lifting the hand, like to reply to the question. So who of you have already experienced ATB so far? Maybe in a workshop, maybe in a class, maybe in a training. Okay, some hands, thank you. So who of you has never done ATB or never heard of it? Okay, one couple, okay. And did anybody of you done already something online of ATB? Maybe a class or a recording? Okay, Abby, yeah. Okay, Katie, kind of so, kind of a recording or a video thing? Okay, yeah. As Suryamayi was sharing before, in any of these cases, it's completely fine for what we are going to be doing today. So if you have never tried it, it's going to be having a first taste. If you have tried it already, it's like taste it again. And if you have, like Aloka says, like chewing the licorice, like really taking out the juice by chewing it a lot of times, is going to bring back the taste, hopefully. So yeah, just for those that haven't done ATB before or haven't heard of it, just very brief introduction. It's something that was born in Auroville a little bit more than 30 years ago by Loka Marti and Joan Sala. It started for children to improve their posture, and then it grew into a very, very diverse curriculum with exercises of all kinds, which can be introspective and really quietening, like yoga nidra and deep introspection, as well as very fun, interactive, dynamic exercises. But all of them are like aiming at rising, at awakening this consciousness that is within through the medium of the body, through the sensations. And it's wonderful because 3-year-old children can already access that consciousness through sensations, and then the practice can develop and go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's a wide spectrum of activities and types and range. So what are we going to be doing today in this hour together? So I'll pass the mic to Suryamayi.
Yeah, so we'll start just by sharing a little bit of the story of how this course came about, because it's such a kind of novel form, even for those of you who've done a lot of ATB. So just to kind of explain the origin story of how we got here with this course today. And then we're going to introduce a few of the practices that we have inside the course, so that you get a sense of what it would actually feel like to follow along and to experience ATB, and what you might find actually in the course and how that might serve you. And then we'll open it up for any sharings of what you experienced, any questions that you might have, about today's session, about ATB more broadly, yeah, we're here and available for that. So we've planned for approximately 1 hour for our session, but we're both happy to stay on a bit longer for kind of more extended Q&A session for those of you who want to stay. And we'll definitely do a time check at 1 hour for those of you who need to leave. So Francesco, over to you for our origin story of this course.
Yeah, as Julia was saying before, in my previous life, I was doing snowboard and I was doing rock climbing and all those kind of extreme sports. And then I ended up arriving in Auroville, and I worked a lot with children. And it's just by working with children, I love to tell things in story form. So I'd just like to share with you how this course came about in a story form, going a little bit back in time, which was 2 years ago in about May 2020. And I was in my little room in Auroville. I live in a room that is 40 square meters, just a little veranda, in a hot summer day. And I had my luggages there ready. I would soon go to Argentina to take several planes to arrive to Argentina, and then going to give workshops in Italy. And then I look at my computer, and news about COVID starts to come. Open the phone, more news about COVID, more people that call me. And my colleague, Rosa, with whom I would have needed to go to Argentina, calls me and she says, you know what, Francesco, they're soon going to close the borders. If we leave now, then maybe we may risk to get stuck there. What shall we do? So then we decided to cancel. Another call from Italy. What shall we do? There are 24 people signed up for a live workshop. They already paid and they're already here waiting for us. What shall we do? Can't we do it online? And at the beginning I said, no, online. ATV, you cannot do it online. I mean, it's like it's so live. I mean, it's so body-like. But then I yielded and I did a whole 2.5 days, shifted it completely online. At the beginning, I was like, how will I be able to do that? But then it kind of worked. And the feedbacks of people were actually good. And I was surprised. Then 1 week later, Suryamayi calls me. And she says, you know what? There is a friend of mine. We have grown up together. She was doing ATB classes with me when we were little kids. And then she had this kind of dream. She wanted to bring ATB also elsewhere, not only in Auroville. And she came up with this idea, why don't we do a video course? Why can't we offer something of that kind? And it was incredible, this synchronicity, I mean, just after. So I said to Suryamayi, let's give it a try. Then 1 week after, we were together nearby my sofa in the same room, writing down. So this exercise, no, this we cannot do it online. Come on, let's cross it out. This breathing, yes, it can be working. And like this, we drew the outline of this course, and we chose 3 main themes. So it went on and on. 6 months after, shooting with the sound of the squirrels, of the crows, of the trucks in India, redo. I tell you, it's not easy to shoot a video in Auroville for that thing. But after 6 months, the last day, a morning, the breath activity, Suryamayi lying down with a breathometer on the abdomen. There was the filmer that was up on a ladder to take this nice shot from above. And I was just recording the last words of the breathing exercise. And it was finished. But then it's not enough to finish a course. Then there is plenty of things afterwards before it came out. So a long time in India, also things can get longer. But April this year, finally, next to the book of Awareness Through the Body in kindergarten, it was so something so glad to see that the course was there available for everyone that could not come to Auroville, could not experience it for one reason or another, live or not live, not yet, but now it was there. And now, what is it, 14th May, we are here with you, very glad at this very moment, and to share about this story and the outcome of it. And well, I led, oh yeah, that's true. I said before, I mentioned three themes. The three themes of the course that we came about are attention, breath, and harmony. We call it harmony, meaning the parts of the being. And there were a whole discussion with Suryamayi. So which themes shall we pick and what is the reason for choosing them? So now I'm asking Suryamayi. So why did we choose this attention, breath, and parts of being?
Yeah, so attention is really the building block, I would say, one of the foundational building blocks of the awareness through the body practice. Because as Julian mentioned earlier, awareness through the body is really about developing this witness consciousness. And that really starts also with reclaiming our attention and learning actually the power of our attention and how to direct it, how to focus it, how to center, what's the impact of that, which can be really major for the impact it can have on our being and on our entire lives. And awareness through the body is really a practice in this witnessing, in this noticing, in this taking note of shifts in our being as we do different practices. And I mean, we're rarely taught actually anything really about how to use our attention, you know, short of when we're kids, you know, having people say, pay attention without really explaining what the attention is or what that actually means or how to do that. But it's really relevant from childhood to adulthood onwards, where attention just gets, caught in many ways. So it's fundamental. If we want to be practicing awareness through the body, we need to establish a really conscious contact with the faculty of attention, with this tool of attention. And then harmony, which is basically looking at the different parts of the being, the different parts of ourselves, is again really fundamental to the awareness through the body practice, because this is the origin of ATB as an integral yoga practice. Again, is this integral yoga philosophy and practice developed by Sri Aurobindo and the mother, which is really based on this understanding of the self as made up of many different parts that each have their own potential for evolution and potential for even better harmonization and centeredness of all these parts working together in a really conscious, life-affirming way. So we felt it was really critical to touch on this aspect. Also because when we do different awareness through the body exercises, whether they're individual activities or partner activities or group activities, whether they're sensorial, whether they're, you know, attention games, whatever it might be, we always reflect back on what has been the effect on different parts of the being. How are these practices influencing and informing the different parts of myself? So it's really always about registering in these different parts of ourselves and kind of, really gaining more awareness of each of them and more of a sense of the wholeness of all of them together. Whereas often they can actually be and feel quite disconnected because we might be mostly in our mind or mostly in our emotions at any given moment. So how to really kind of constantly broaden that out and check in with all the different parts of ourselves. And then the last theme that we've explored in this course is breath. And breath is, of course, used across many different disciplines and practices of conscious embodiment, whether in yoga and all kinds of practices. And it's just a really very powerful tool in meditation. So for centering attention, it's a powerful tool for relaxation and for really coming into center and experiencing a certain state of spaciousness. And that's another thing that awareness through the body really tries to foster and bring each of us in contact with is the sense of centeredness and spaciousness within ourselves, and being able to tap into that space really of wholeness and fullness and deep peace. And breath really helps to do that. So yeah, that's what we landed on as introductory themes, or as themes of introductory practices. And I think with that, we'll just dive right in to the experiential part of the session. So wherever you might be, just take a moment to make sure that you're sitting really comfortably. So if you need to move, or maybe even need to stand up and stretch for a moment, or just shift around, just make sure that you're sitting nice and comfortable. It can be on a chair, it can be on the floor. It doesn't really matter. And if you're uncomfortable sitting, just add some extra height. That usually helps, an extra cushion or something like that. Yeah. We'll be starting with a guided breath practice. So for a moment, just take a nice few deep breaths and just relax a little bit, whether it's your shoulders, maybe if your stretches, take some nice deep breaths in and out. It's always nice to take deep breaths in through the nose and just out through the mouth. And you're really trying to kind of relax and release. Great. And once you found a little bit of ease and a little bit of connection with your breath and your body, you're going to look up to the screen for a moment, and I'm going to share you the exercise that we'll be doing together. Essentially, we're going to be very simply following our breath pattern. So our inhale, our exhale, and even perhaps the pauses in between. So some of us have, or probably most of us at the beginning, the kind of inhale and exhale will just sort of go one after the other. But as we really kind of soften and deepen and relax into the breath, we might find that naturally we'll find a pause at the bottom of the exhale before inhaling, and maybe even a pause at the inhale before exhaling. So just letting you know, it's important not to force it at all, but you might get there in the next couple of minutes. And to help us to really follow along with our breath, we're going to be using our hands. So actually, as you breathe in, at the pace of your own breath, you're going to gently rise your hands up till you reach the top of your inhale. At the top of your inhale, you'll gently turn your palms back down, and as you exhale, you'll lower them down. So you can just do it with me a couple of times with your eyes open, just to make sure you kind of get the movement right. And one thing to be aware of is as you lift the hands up, not to lift the shoulders up. Yeah, so just keep your shoulders really nice and relaxed, and just very gently follow your breath pattern with your hands. When that feels clear to you, you'll gently rest your palms down for a moment and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, just gently turn your gaze inward. And just notice what's alive for you right now. What's most calling your attention from within. Perhaps your attention is on a particular part of your body. Or maybe you're noticing that you're really caught up in a lot of thoughts. Or perhaps you're tuning into an emotion that's present for you in this moment. Which could be peace, could be nervousness, anticipation. So without getting too caught up, just taking this moment to check in. And then you'll turn your attention to your breath. And just gently follow the flow of your breath in and out. Noticing how the breath moves through your body. Noticing the length of your inhale and exhale. And acknowledging how it feels to tune your awareness into your breath. What changes? And then very gently, you just allow your exhale to become a little bit longer. Without forcing anything, just allowing it its own fullness. And as the exhale relaxes and eases into fullness, you'll notice that the inhale naturally lengthens as well. As you keep your awareness on the breath, in your next inhale, you gently allow your hands to rise, palms facing upwards with your breath in. Turn at the top of your inhale as you exhale, allowing the hands to gently rest back down. With each inhale, the palms rise back up with the breath. With each exhale, descending. And your hands are like a mirror to your breath. So the hands rise and fall at the same pace of your inhale and exhale. And the more you breathe, the more you allow that pace to slow down and your breaths to gently lengthen so that you really come into the fullness of the breath. And some of you may already be noticing a pause in between the breath in and the breath out. And if that pause is there, You gently acknowledge it. By not rushing out of it, but just allowing it to be there for as long as it's comfortable and natural. And you follow along this 4-part breath. Exhale and pause at the bottom of the exhale. Your hands pausing to meet. And then whenever the inhale rises, hands rise up. You find perhaps a pause at the top of the inhale. Just following the pace of your own breath cycle. Allowing yourself a few more cycles of breath, maybe 3 to 5 more in your own space, in a moment of silence. And then very gently, on your next exhale, you'll allow the palms to rest back down. For a moment, just continue to follow the flow of your breath. And taking a moment to acknowledge any shifts in your inner being. In just these few minutes, consciously following your breath. Noticing any shifts in how you perceive your physical body. Any new or different sensations in the physical. Perhaps spaciousness. Perhaps a release of tension held somewhere previously. Perhaps just more feeling of the different parts of your physical body, especially the inner body. Noticing any shifts in your energy. And in your emotional and mental state. And whenever you're ready to resurface, a nice few deep inhales help bring you back to the surface consciousness. It helps maybe even a little bit of stretching, gentle movement of the head side to side, of the shoulders. And whenever you're ready, gently opening your eyes and coming back into the shared space of our Zoom together. Taking your time. You see that most of you are back with eyes open. And ATB is all about changes of pace from the inner to the outer and then back to the inside. And the idea is to have these waves that actually we go in and then we go out, and that helps us to go in a little bit deeper. And Francesco is very masterful at bringing us out in fun and playful ways. So I'll hand over to him now.
Yeah, I find it very interesting, especially connected to the breath, this breath that we just experienced. Life, it's rhythm. There is the rhythm of the seasons, the rhythm of the heart, the rhythm of the breath. So we are surrounded by rhythm. And actually, it's one can ride this rhythm, and there is really this going outside towards the outside, and then one can plunge deeper inside. But then staying only deeper inside, then there is a missing part in our life, because of course we are interacting with the world, with others, especially in these modern times. There is a lot of engagement. So ATB is really giving opportunity to wave in and out, and breathing or introspective exercises can really help us to really become aware of the present. Or sometimes if the mind goes somewhere else, oh, look, it went, we can invite her to come back. Another way is to really be in the moment with quick movement, or with quick activities, or with things that are a little bit demanding. Not too much, but not too easy. So we are going to be doing something of that kind. And if for any reason it feels a little bit too difficult for you, don't worry, it's not about doing it well. It's just an occasion to see how it can work, to spark up the attention. So to start with, maybe we can go with a very liked, loved exercise for children. It's Simon Says. Does anybody of you know Simon Says? Have you ever played or heard about Simon Says? If you played, hand up. Okay. So all ends up, but the thing is that there are 25 here and I'm not sure I'm seeing everyone. I can see Krida, Kartika. Okay. Okay. So well, you all know. Very good. So we can go straight away with that. No, there is a couple. Just two people that don't know. I will explain it briefly. So Simon Says works that if I say the game of Simon Says is on, then I'm going to be starting with giving some instructions, which can, if they're preceded by the word Simon Says, you need to follow whatever Simon says. If I'm giving an instruction without saying Simon Says before, you just need to continue the action you were doing before. Okay, and when I say Simon Says the game is over, the game is over. So are you ready? Show that you're ready with your thumb. Okay, very good. Okay, so Simon says, wiggle your point finger. Okay, Simon says, point small fingers. Okay, there are some people that is doing and some people are not doing. And I know that some of you might have already spotted me. I'm trying to trick you. Did I say that Simon Says the game is on? Did I tell that the game was on? That was, Simon needs to say that the game starts. So Simon says the game has started. Okay, so now let's go back with the small fingers. Okay, some people are doing, some people don't. Why? Simon says, yeah, exactly. Simon says, move the little fingers. Okay, now move the thumbs. Yeah, Simon says, move the thumbs. Simon says, move all 10 fingers. Simon says, move 2 fingers. Now 3 fingers. Now 4 fingers. Simon says 4 fingers. Okay, Simon says, tap your head. Simon says, tap your head. Simon says, tap your head. Simon says, tap your shoulders. Okay, now tap your head. Simon says, tap your head. Simon says, tap your shoulders. Simon says, tap your head. Okay, Simon says, tap your nose. Simon says, pull your nose. Simon says, pull your ears. Okay, someone says, let go of the arms. Okay, someone says, open the mouth. Someone says, close the eyes. Someone says, close the mouth. Someone says, close the eyes. Someone says, open the eyes. Someone says, close the eyes. Okay, now open the mouth. Someone says, open the mouth. Someone says, close the mouth. Someone says, open the mouth. Now open the eyes. Open the eyes. Some people are opening the eyes, some don't. Simon didn't say. Simon closed the eyes. Simon says, close the eyes. Simon says, close the mouth. Okay, now stay with the closed eyes. And Simon says, stay with the closed eyes. And now let's try to be fair. And everybody's now with the closed eyes, so nobody will look at each other. So let's try to be fair. So if you think you have done about 5 or 6 mistakes, you can lift up your arm or your hand. Keep the eyes closed. If you think you have done less than 10 mistakes, you can lift up the hand. Okay, let's be fair. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, now Simon says, if you've lifted the arm now, you need to add 1 more because Simon didn't ask it before. Simon says, open the eyes. And Simon says, the game of Simon Says is over. Just 1 more of moving and going together without the thing of Simon Says. Just to ease up a little bit the shoulders. So let's just copy my movement. So as with the children, we say like the shoulder is talking and is saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And the other says, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know. And what about both shoulders? And now with the camera, let's see if you can make a wave with your arm. Can you wave the arm from one side to the other? And then wave the opposite arm. And now both arms crossing each other. And now you can be creative. Just get into any movement that you can do with your body. And every time that I say change, you change your style. Okay? Change. And change. And change. See, the mind doesn't have the time to think. Change. And change. And change. And stop. Freeze exactly where you are, whichever position you are. And now let's see if you can move only the fingers of your right hand. The rest remains still like a statue. Now let's see if you can move only the face, facial muscles. The belly, can you move just the belly? Yeah, the rest will want to come, but that's okay. Now let's start to move the fingers. Then add fingers and wrists, and add the elbows, and add the shoulders, and add the neck, and add your spine, and add your hips, and add your knees, and your face, and your ears, and your tongue. And just for a moment, let yourself go. You can even close the eyes for a moment. Forget about anybody looking, anybody else, and just flow with the movement of free-flowing body. In the present, in the body. And if it comes even to make some sounds of relief or just release, just you can be playful with that. In any case, there is mic off, that's fine. And gradually make the movement slower, slower, and slower until you can arrive at a still point, a still position with closed eyes, so that you can check in one more time into yourself. Any comfortable position. We are not going to stay for long, it's just for checking in. There is something we do with our body, something we do with our attention, and there is an inner shift, an inner change. So what is it that changed in you? Just after doing this couple of things, a bit of playful movement. What is the most apparent thing that comes to your awareness at first? Maybe breath, heartbeat, sensations in the skin. But if you check just a little bit more, maybe something else changed. Maybe in the mind, maybe in the mood, maybe in the breath. And then you can take just a deeper breath, and whenever you're ready, you can open the eyes and come back here together again, just for our few more minutes together. So take your time. We'll wait for everyone to be here with eyes open. And then we'll just briefly go through a little bit a tour inside this video course that we are sharing, presenting, because quite a few things you have already tasted. Actually, it's not exactly same, but something are very similar, like the one we did of moving the articulation, or the breathing exercise that we did together with Suryamayi. So I have prepared here a slideshow just for you to have also a visual sense of how it can look when going inside of it. So let me share the screen here. Just a second that I need to open. I don't know if you also have a Mac like me, but what happens, my Mac is basically, it's just enough I turn my head and I have some files and it pulls them in the cloud. Like I downloaded it before, just before the presentation, and now I already stole. Now it should be coming. Okay, maybe as it's downloading, I'll ask you one thing that we often do in ATB. We have a lot of meters. We have the breathometer, we have the focusometer, we have joyometer, and it's a way for basically assessing a little bit how we feel inside. So now I would invite you to just check in how to feel your level of energy and just show it with your thumb. So like this is full energy, like this a little bit less, I'm getting a little bit tired, or like this, like, ooh, I'm ready to go to sleep. Okay, we have varied levels of energies, various angles. Okay, so some that they're starting like this and they're prancing. Okay, thank you. And in the meantime, this got downloaded and I can share it with you. Okay. So yeah, we called it introductory practices because they are really practices to start with. And at the same time, it can be a practice, re-practice for those that have already done it. It is divided in 3 modules and it has some audio tracks together, and also one bonus meditation we really love, which is the smiling energy one, and some implementation tips. So there is both some information, knowledge, as well as practices. We are going to be sharing 3 of the main principles of ATV. There are some in total, but we found that these were really the basics, the core ones. And how do we deliver that is through some parts we explain, some parts we actually have some visuals, some images that help to kind of have a kind of a clear idea, some small and fun activities similar to the ones we did together, as well as longer guided meditations. But yeah, longer than the ones we did here. So here we found it very valuable to share what we usually share in the live introductory workshops, which is the whole like kind of compact theory of the planes of the being. So what is the subtle physical body? What do we mean by vital being, by mental part, and what is the little tip at the very center that is in the model over there? And we find this model that is we usually use very simple, but it's the power, it's its own simplicity. We used it a lot and we found it worked. So introspective exercises. Actually, that's the picture of the story I was sharing before, where Suryamayi is lying down like this. That was our last day of shooting. Then there are also some physical dynamic practices. You can see on the left, there is one exercise that helps to release tension on the neck and in the trapezius muscles. We all carry weights on our shoulders in a way or in another. And there is this exercise that can help to at least take out a little bit of the weight of the baggage we sometimes carry. We divided it into modules, and each module is subdivided in parts because otherwise maybe somebody doesn't have a whole hour to spend all in one go. So we divided first part of first module, second part of second module, and even pauses. So like these, you can really follow it at your own time. Some people just like to do 20 minutes, stop and pick it up the following day. Some people like to go longer. Some people like to just do the exercise and then follow the explanation at some other moment. Then if you are like me, I like to do video things, but very often I just like to download things on my phone, and I'm going in the woods and I lie down and I do the exercise somewhere else. So we put it together in a way that you can access the audio tracks of the guided exercises that you find in the course. So you can do them anywhere it's suitable for you, of course. Then some implementation tips, and often we refer to things of modern life, of daily life, of how to integrate the principles of ATV and the activities of ATV in the day-to-day life, modern life. Then at some point throughout the year, we are going to be gathering again live and reply to the questions that came up through the practice. Because of course, it's like one is through a video course, and in the video course, you can talk to us in the screen, but we will not necessarily reply to everything. And I know that because this is after this video course, I've done also other video courses in Italy. And there is one sweet lady that she was really telling me, you know, Francesco, I was talking to you in the screen. Then of course, then when we were doing the Q&A, then she was sharing and all, that we really did it in a way to make our best to establish connection with you, with you on the other side. Like when we were there filming, like not looking at the camera as a little dot, but to the person that is behind. And by now it's 2 years that I've been doing this, and I know there is a way to connect. I know it's not like live, but there is something that is true that comes through, and hopefully that's our intention, of course, with all the limitations that are there in the world. And yes, as we already shared, is available on auroville.com, and there is the link that it is posted here. So yeah, just I'll share a couple of questions that I told you, like it's already 2 years, especially with Italy, some people share their concern. One thing is, you know, Francesco, with technology, I'm a mess. If I'm buying this course, I don't know if I will ever manage to get through it. So we made it as simple as possible in a way to just, you know, like one gets the link, then one gets just one password, enter the password, and then there is one screen where there are all the modules. They're all in the same place. There is just one menu to the side in which there are all the modules, and one just clicks. It's like videos. So very simple for that. And the other, it's a little bit about time. Will I manage to fit it into my schedule? That's why we broke it down. And then the other is, will it work like live? And the answer is, it doesn't work like live, but there are certain things that definitely do work, and otherwise there would simply not be the opportunity. So that's, for us, it's simply to give the opportunity, and then you can use it in the way it suits you best. Audio, mainly video, a little bit one and the other, taking notes, just going through, speed it up. Like I speed up my own explanation. When it's part explanation, I just speed it up. And then when it's the time to breathe, I take the time and I go for it, and I stay afterwards. I pause and I stay there. So it's all adaptable. So I think here we are arriving at the end of our time. I just pass the mic to Suri. And I can see Paula is greeting. Thank you, Paula.
Yeah, thanks, Paula. Glad to hear it was a nice first time ATB experience, even though it was online. Yeah, so we're just 1 minute past the hour. So thanks everyone for joining us. I realize some people might need to go and a few people just left in the last minute. So I guess they were tight. But we're here, we're happy to answer any questions. We're happy to hear anything about what you experienced today, any feedback that you might have. So yeah, just really an open space. So feel free to unmute and let us know anything you'd like to share, anything you'd like to ask.
Yes, hello. I was wondering actually if you were planning on putting up a teacher course.
Good question.
Well, I could obviously come to Auroville for some time, but probably not a year or anything. So would I don't know, what are the options there?
Yeah, actually, I'll start answering and then Francesco can pick it up. So the thing is that as part of our teacher training, one of the main aspects of the teacher training is particularly if you're looking to teach children eventually, but it's kind of a general requirement for any certification facilitation, is to actually observe the children's classes, to observe children's classes. So obviously in Auroville, we have a really kind of long tradition of having these classes. And we have all of the awareness through the body props in our schools. So it allows like a really complete sense of the practice, being able to also observe people facilitate. So it's not, there is a part which is about kind of learning the techniques, and all of that, but there's a whole other part which is also really observation. Francesco has been starting some filming of the classes to actually help bridge that gap with people who can't come here and view it in these schools. But there are a lot of aspects of awareness through the body that are partner exercises, that are group exercises, that are really about how we move and sense space, and the subtle physical, so the energetic body, and all of those practices are difficult to bring through in the online or kind of pre-recorded format. There are, however, a lot of, there are training, awareness through the body training courses do happen in various parts of the world. They don't only happen here in Auroville. So Joan, one of the founders, is actually giving a training right now in Spain, and he does that every year. There are trainings that happen in France, in Holland and Ireland pretty regularly. In the US, up until quite recently, just with this whole COVID thing, there's been a gap. But I think that the Amir is coming later this year or soon, planning to come again. So the US as well. So there are definitely, and there have been also trainings in South America in the last 2-3 years. So these trainings do happen. And the best way to find out about those is on the Awareness Through the Body website. And it's a good idea to sign up ahead of time, especially for the India ones. But yeah, so that would be really important, definitely, to do actual live to get all of those other aspects. And then the observation is really precious as well, because when you're in a workshop, you're experiencing it yourself, but you're not observing. And a key aspect of actually the facilitation is observing what is happening, what's working, what's not working, and how the teacher or the facilitator adjusts in function of that. And that's a really important aspect as well. Yeah. Francesco, is there anything you want to add?
No, it's really, yeah, I can see Alana put it here on the chat. There is the web page. Definitely there you can find whenever a workshop is organized anywhere in the world, you can find it there. And you can also see how the process for the training, how it goes. So there you find all the info. And about trainees in general, there is one very simple image, but to me very effective, that Aloka uses, that says, you know, ATV like needs to do like this, and it comes out of the skin. So basically it's like soaking oneself. So any opportunity of doing a little bit of it, whether it's through your eyes, looking at others, personal experiences in the meditations, in the worships, whatever adds that, because it's really something that kind of impregnates the body. So whatever chance you have, yeah, definitely go ahead.
And I see there's a question from Martin on the chat around around kind of the history of awareness through the body and how it developed, and a specific question around the Equals One School. So yeah, Aloka and Juan started developing this practice in the 90s. I was actually amongst their first students when they first started out in the Auroville primary schools, in the Auroville kindergarten, really. And I mean, over the first, I would say at least decade, possibly even more, the kind of curriculum was really building. So they were drawing inspiration from a lot of different sources. They also incorporated, I mean, went and took different workshops, for example, in sensory awareness. They went and did trainings on that in Germany. And the idea was to really, and they were reading, you know, the synthesis of yoga throughout Shavina synthesis of yoga is what they describe as something that they were really constantly referring back to. So there's definitely inspiration drawn from a wide variety of existing practices and modalities, but always reframed and brought back into the kind of overarching principles and understanding of the body and of the being based on Sri Aurobindo's conception. So how to draw things and kind of, yeah, work them in a way that would help to serve that purpose of exploring the being in that way. I don't know if they specifically were in touch with Yvonne from Equals One, but Aloka did live in the ashram prior to living in Auroville. And she continues to have that connection. Actually, I've been assisting her the last few years. We do a yearly workshop for teachers in the ashram as well. So I'm sure that there are lots of connections there. And yeah. Anyone else?
Actually, I have a question about the breath hand movement, and I'm used to it. What was interesting about it was the combination of watching the breath. Well, first you initiating the breath, and then just watching the breath and looking for the pauses, and I found myself, you know, wondering. I'm sort of used to watching the breath, and then oscillating between having the hand movement follow the breath and having the breath follow the hands or something. I don't even know what I'm asking. But you know, there's this, because there's two, you know, there's the Qigong breathe to the hands movement, and then there's just like let the hand, you know, then there's just watching the breath, right? And the watching the breath comes up with all these different rhythms. Whereas if you intentionally breathe deep and breathe out, you know, you're sort of creating a regular rhythm. But then just watching the breath practice, I mean, my breath like just goes all over the place, you know, goes, can go in and out, or it can go big sigh, you know, long exhale, and then, you know, then panting, you know, the rhythms like keep shifting around. So I'm just wondering how you think about the which is wonderful. I've been so grateful for the introduction to letting, you know, to following the hands with the breath. So I'm wondering what kind of thoughts.
Maybe I reply. So it's very interesting what you're sharing, and to me it really reveals two of the main roots, let's say the foundations of ATV, which is both the Vedantic foundation, which is pure like the observer, the self that's looking, it's not intervening, And then there is a lot of Taoist base. And there is this doing and not doing at the same time. And they very often say like being out of the way, but at the same time is doing. But and like to the logical mind, it doesn't make sense, because am I guiding it or am not guiding it? And it's actually both, neti neti. It's both at the same time, and it can be quite interesting to see, because you don't know whether you are doing it or not, but it works, and then it has its own way, like as you were sharing, your own kind of breath pattern shifts, so it's a matter of going along with it, following it. So yeah, very interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Another thing I would add is that, so because you were mentioning in the Qigong, right, is that actually these practices in the ATB, they're not related to the breath. They're not breath practices in the sense of like pranayama, or it's not like techniques, right? And so when you're saying, the breath sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short, sometimes that's exactly it. It's just about observing what the breath is in this moment. How does it change if once I do something different, whether it's, in this case, it was something more meditative, sometimes it's something a lot more active, and just what kind of learning about what's actually impacting our system and our being, and what are the signs of that, and how does that, kind of come alive in our being. So it's really much more about just observing and entering into the breath rather than applying a technique with or onto the breath.
No, that's very helpful.
Yes, thank you for the ancient Vedic practice of Simon Says.
Yeah, that was.
But it's lovely to think that, this almost cliche of Sri Aurobindo, all life is yoga. All these practices from all different traditions can be recast with this perspective of witness consciousness. And there's so much in the culture, these words like mindfulness or control of anger and body and breath awareness. And awareness through the body really touches on so many of these things. And just the idea of slowing down is such a gift right now. My peak experience today was following the breath and then realizing, I don't think I heard what Suryamayi just said. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was in this place of not knowing. And you were very quiet. You didn't say anything. So I was suspended there for a while. And it was like going on a little vacation. So that was lovely. I thank everyone for participating in this first cafe. It is recorded. So it will be available for others if you find it useful to share. The link will be up on the aviusa.org website. And we thank you so much, Francesco and Suryamayi, and look forward to our next interaction and to the next Oro Cafe with Auroville Live. Any final questions, comments? Alana, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I didn't check on the website, but the courses given in France and Switzerland, they would be in French?
Yeah, so there are, we have quite a let's say quite a community of French facilitators actually. So then they're given in French. And even when Aloka, the founder, I don't know if she will go again, but she used to go a fair amount of time, and she speaks French as well. So even when she goes, she teaches it in French. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, could I just leave the chat open a little while because I want to copy the links that you've made there?
Yeah, we'll also be sending out all the links in a follow-up email. So
great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Both of you are welcome to come to Woodstock. Our little plates and sticks are sitting in the corner, so lonely, waiting.
Yeah.
So you have an open invitation should the opportunity arise, or we'll create the opportunity. We keep waiting for things to calm down, and it seems another wave of the Leela continues, but we look forward to welcoming you, both of you, to visit us in Woodstock and give ATB in the US again.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for hosting us today and for inviting us. And the plates at Woodstock are our mates soon, our friends. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one last question? Sorry if I'm taking time, if you want to close down, but if I wanted to come to Auroville to do one of the sessions, I was just checking on the website. So there is an order to that. You have to first do the basic module intensive and then the ATB 1, 2, and so on. Is it
1, 2, 3, which is basics, and then there is 4 and 5, which is the advanced. You need to sign up for the basics before going to the other. And if you want to sign up for that, sign up as soon as you can, because there are like waiting lists that they are like never ending. We are trying to do them twice a year to cover that, but it seems it's not enough. Yeah.
Also,
right.
Also, Circe, what I would advise is feel free to just sign up. You know, if you're like, okay, well, I sign up for this course in a year, you can always cancel. Canceling is easier than signing up and getting on the list. And there are always people in Auroville itself who are on that waiting list who've done it many times, but just, you know, would be happy to do it again if there's a space. So really, you don't have to feel bad about, you know, if you actually then really need to cancel. So I would say if you're like feeling motivated, then just because Francesco and I know, like, it's, you know, waiting list of like 40 people. So I just want to encourage you, since I'm feeling enthusiasm for you, is just like, you know, just get your name on there and don't feel bad if plans change.
Yeah, especially there is the 1, 2, 3, the basic, the September one that is just closed now, which means that you would be very much at the top of the waiting list. So if if you're lucky, then you could have your lucky strike. So right soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So wishing all of you a very beautiful day from whatever time zone you are, a good continuation.
Thank you.
James, and good day.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.